The Laperal White House is one of the most haunted places in the Philippines. Hi Crypt Keepers, thank you for tuning in to AmysCrypt. Today I have a really exciting episode for you because this is one that so many people have requested for my channel. So many of you have asked me to go to this place, to talk about this place. It's actually really crazy and I'm finally doing it. So shout out to all of my Filipino viewers out there, this one is for you. This is a location located in the Philippines. For anybody watching who hasn't heard about this haunted house before, I think you guys are in for a treat as well, because a lot of the stories and the history associated with this place are just really out there. Like it's so intense and I can't wait to share it with you all. So let's jump right into talking about the Laperal White House in Baguio of the Philippines. So if you ask anyone in Baguio about this haunted house, I guarantee you they will know about it. It's a place that strikes fear into the hearts of many, and it is seriously notorious for all of the legends that surround it and possibly being cursed, particularly cursed for the family who built the house and lived within it. The existence of this mansion came about in the 1920s when a well-to-do family, the Laperals, built this house as their summer getaway. And of course it's in Baguio, which is like the summer capital of the Philippines, as its climate is a lot cooler, being up in the mountains. So Don Roberto Laperal and his wife Donna Victoria moved their large but young family over to the house. They were really excited to own this place, to have it built. It was going to be a place where their family could come to retreat and just have a great time. What they didn't anticipate or expect was the death that was going to come along with owning this property, particularly a lot of the death that happened within their own family. Now, the Laperal White House certainly saw a lot of misfortune and death associated with the Laperal family, but there's more to this place's history. The house was actually seized during World War II by the Japanese, who used it as a temporary garrison. And there are a lot of stories and tales of the torture and executions, beheadings, all sorts of crazy things that happened within this property during the time that Japanese occupied it. Now, there are a lot of tales that suggest the Laperals were in this house at the time the Japanese took over ownership of it, and that they were actually, tortured and murdered by the Japanese, but these just aren't true. So the Laperals did flee and they made their way out of Baguio during the war. They did later return to the house, but I'm sure you can imagine a lot of the nasty deeds that happened in this house as a temporary garrison held by the Japanese. And these unfortunate events are certainly thought to have brought extra paranormal activity and hauntings into the property. I do just want to focus on the Laperal family for now though, and just talk about some of the misfortune that they saw from living here. The first story I will talk about is perhaps the most tragic, and that talks about the daughter of this family who was just 3.5 years old. Now, she was actually being overseen by a nanny who was supposed to be taking care of her, and this young child actually walked out the front door following her nanny. Now, the nanny had a little bit of a lapse in her concentration. She kind of took her eyes off of the small child for just a split second. And as kids do, this little girl went off to explore, yet wandered on to the busy road that runs right in front of the Laperal White House. And she was actually hit by a car and died there on the scene. Ever since, this little girl's spirit is thought to have been trapped at the property, and there are a lot of people who have sighted this little girl. She's even been photographed on the front stairs of the property, and this is typically where she is usually seen. Now, this tragic story doesn't just end there with the little girl. As you can imagine, this nanny was really guilt and grief-stricken over this event. I know that I certainly would be. And just a few short weeks later, she actually took her own life within the house. So she committed suicide in one of the upstairs attic rooms. Now, the spirit of the nanny is also thought to dwell at the house, and she's almost looked at as maybe a guardian to the spirit of this little girl, and quite often she is sighted at the same time as this little girl's spirit is. In fact, the photo of the little girl that has been captured on the front stairs, you can actually kind of see someone standing behind the little girl who many people believe is her nanny. Now, if you think that that horrible event could be the worst thing to happen to this family and things just couldn't get worse, You'd be wrong. A lot of the Laperals died in or around this house in various ways. So the first set of deaths I'll talk to is actually that of twin brothers. So the first young man was actually murdered in Manila, and his twin brother was so grief-stricken over this murder that his death also followed closely after. He is said to have committed suicide at the Laperal White House in his bedroom. So that's just brought even more spiritual energy into this property. We also have another of the Laperal boys, this one very young, is said to have died on the property by drowning in the swimming pool. The swimming pool, I believe, has since been removed from the house. Now we move on to the sisters or the daughters of the Laperals. One is said to have died in hospital. The other is said to have died actually en route to the Laperal White House. It's said that she was coming to the house to hold like a graduation type celebration for herself, and she actually died in a car accident on the way up to the house. All of her friends and herself died in the car at the time of impact. And I mean, the roads leading up to Baguio, because it is in the mountains, are really treacherous, so that one is definitely easy to understand. Now, the parents obviously suffered a great deal losing so many of their children, but they also passed away in relation to the house. So the mother or the wife of the family, she actually passed away in the 1950s inside her bedroom of a heart attack. Her husband, Don Roberto, didn't die too soon after. It's said that he was so over this house. There were so many dark memories, death and misfortune that was linked to this house and his family. He said to himself, I need to get rid of it. I need to sell this property. But it's said as he decided this, he walked out the front steps, and as he got to the bottom, he collapsed and then died himself on the property. So with everything that's happened at the Laperal White House, you can quite easily see why many people say that it is haunted. So we have the spirits of a lot of the Laperals themselves. The whole family seems to haunt this place. We also have ghosts left over from those who were tortured and executed by the Japanese within the house at the time of World War II. And then finally, people also say that there is a Japanese soldier that hangs out on the top floors of this house too. Some of the paranormal activity that is said to occur here, obviously I've already touched on apparition sightings. We also have poltergeist activity. Things are said to move around in here. There's also some darker stories of these entities actually physically touching or attacking people. While I was in the Philippines, I was actually lucky enough to be taken around by one of my friends, Anton, who runs Pine City Fright Tours. And you guys probably remember him from my old diplomat video. If you haven't, I'm going to link it below so you guys can go and watch that. Now, Anton is great, and I highly recommend if you are in Baguio, go check out Pine City Fright Tours. I'm linking them below too, because if you are into the spooky side of things, you're into ghosts and the dark history that goes with them, you definitely need to check out his tours. They are amazing. Now, he took us to the Laperal White House, and he did tell us a couple of the stories about it. He also recounted one instance in particular where one of the guests actually got scratched as they were going through the Laperal White House. Now, I believe I have some footage of conversation that we had about that particular scratch, so I'm going to play that for you guys right now.
Back in 2015, we used to take people to this place called the Laperal House. We actually used to be able to go inside back when it was open to the public. We could actually extend the hours up to 7:30 in the evening, and we would conduct tours inside the house, and I would take people around the rooms. I would explain this is the history of the house and so forth, died here, and this normally shows up. And while we were there, there was this one situation where I had a guest of mine. I tried to explain to them that, provided that before we even enter the house, just not to poke fun at the ghost. Like, don't try to impersonate the ghost, don't try to do anything silly or ridiculous. Just keep quiet, don't make a lot of noise, and just pay some kind of respect to the dead. And there was this one guest who basically was not listening to what I was saying, even though I asked him politely to please stop. And then there's one situation where we went all the way up to the attic, which where we basically end towards all the way to the top, the third floor. And then from there, there's one situation. He starts, like, he's in pain for some reason, and he starts yelling. It's like, ow, ow. So it's like something happened to him. So I take a look, I get my flashlight, I point it at his leg, and I notice, because he was wearing shorts, there was like a gash on his leg. Like someone literally gashed him, scratched him. And I told him, see what happens when you piss off the ghost.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary.
Because he was messing with his friends too much. Like he was like saying, well, I'm the ghost of the owner of the house and I'm gonna get you, that's basically a nice version of what he was doing.
Yeah, just disrespecting.
Yeah, basically being really disrespectful. So that happened to him and I told him, see what happens.
So I hope that you guys found that interesting. Unfortunately, at this time, no one is allowed inside the Laperal White House. It makes me very, very sad. And I definitely did try to go in there. I swung by many, many times. I actually stayed at the teacher's camp, which is also a notorious haunted place within Baguio. I have a double episode coming very, very soon on that. So if you guys are interested in seeing the teacher's camp, please let me know in the comments. But I did swing past the Laperal White House a number of times, and I tried to cross paths with the security guard that looks after the house. Unfortunately, I did not see them. One thing that is a little bit creepy that I did see though, I was walking up to the house one day and there was a little girl sitting on the front stairs. Now, I don't believe that she was a ghost. I think that it was definitely a living little girl. One thing that was a red flag that kind of gave that away for me was she was sitting there playing on an iPad. So unless these ghosts have kind of, got a hold of some advanced technology, I don't think that she was a ghost. I actually believe that she was the daughter of maybe the caretaker or someone that was, just dropping by to check on the property. The future of the Laperal White House, I believe, is unclear right now. So no one's allowed in it at the moment. Unfortunately, Anton has been cut off from taking tour groups through, so I don't think anyone's entered the property in quite some time. I have heard rumors that it may be built up into like a hotel kind of complex. Baguio is quite a large tourist destination in the Philippines. I'm not sure how that would go over with the ghosts, and it might be very interesting. Yeah, if they already seem a little bit disgruntled from certain people coming through, I wonder what it'd be like as a hotel. Now, I do apologize that I couldn't make it inside the house. I still hope that you guys enjoyed the footage and the photos that I collected from outside of the White House. It's a place that I am intrigued by and I would love to investigate. It was one of the main places that I wanted to go and do and check out while I was in the Philippines, but unfortunately these things just don't always work out. But in saying that, if anyone can get me inside for whatever reason, someone who knows someone, then please get in contact with me, because I would love to. I really plan to come back to the Philippines one day anyway. I love it over there. But that would maybe make me get there a little bit quicker. I would be on a plane flying to the Philippines to investigate the White House in a second. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. That all really does help me out. If you want to do a little bit more reading on the Laperal White House or any of the other haunted places I visited in the world or in the Philippines, then head to AmysCrypt.com. I write blog articles for all of the places that I visit. You guys can also keep up with me at AmysCrypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, always posting on social media. But thanks for watching, Crypt Keepers. Until next time.